I'm going to just put a small little notch. I'm going to do it right next to where this leaf came out of. I'm going to actually do it on both sides. The first one, hopefully you can see very closely, and I will zoom in. All I'm going to do. Good morning, everybody. I'm Danny. Welcome to my fig sticks, where fig addiction is a real thing. Y'all, this morning, it is very early. No hat, no sunglasses needed, trying to beat the heat. But I'm going to try another air layer this morning. Maybe you watched my recent video on topping a tree that had gotten too tall. Well, in this case, maybe you can see this I-258 behind me. It's another one that's gotten too tall. However, it is covered in figs, and I hate to lose those figs. So I'm gonna try an air layer at the very tip top of this tree. Taking a note from Figgy Ed on this is possible. So the other part of this is I recently watched a video by Basement Figs and the Fig Father, a collab, and they used a technique that I haven't seen where we're just gonna nick the bark. And the thought process is there that if for some reason this doesn't take, it'll heal right over as soon as I remove the air layer. But that's what I'm going to try this morning. I'm going to take you guys along with me. This is my I-258, Italian 258, and you can see just how tall it is. Also notice there are no scaffolds growing anywhere at the base of this tree. They don't start until way up here. That's where my first scaffolds are, and I know that it's just too high. If they continue to grow and branch out from there and put on figs, I have no chance of being able to harvest those figs without a ladder. And I'm not getting on a ladder. So what I plan to do is air layer the tip top of this, turn it into a new tree, and then hopefully that will force the scaffolds to start growing down below once I cut that off. And then the scaffolds will be low enough that I can actually train them and reach them when I'm harvesting my figs. Okay, supplies. Anybody that has ever done an air layer before knows what we need. However, I'm new to this, and I'm hoping there are others out there that are new to this as well. So let's talk about our supplies. So what I have here from right to left, a little knife there to make my nick and cut in the bark. I have a tiny little paintbrush that I use to paint on the Clonex. Of course, Clonex. The zip ties are to secure the Ziploc bag, which this is the method I'm going to use this time. I've been using the little soil pods. I kind of like them. However, they're super hard to snap closed. I wound up having to zip tie a couple of those closed as well. So we're going to try the sandwich bag. And then, of course, I have my HP Pro Mix. This is pre-moistened, just so y'all can see real quick. There might be a little water that comes out of that, barely, if you could see that, but it holds its shape really well. And that is going to promote the growth of these roots, or hopefully promote the growth of these roots in my I-258. I'm panned back here just to show y'all how tall this tree is. I mean, I can't even reach the top of it. Now, granted, it isn't a fig pot. I call them fig pots. They're planters. I build these for my figs. Actually, I'll be building a couple more today for a customer, but you know, it's what, 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. So that's where it starts. But I just rooted this fig in December, this cutting in December, and it's already super high. And if you notice, the scaffolds are way up here. Now, if those scaffolds grow out, how am I going to reach those figs without a ladder? I don't want to have to get on a ladder to harvest any figs. I'm old, 50 feels old sometimes, but I don't want to have to stand on a ladder to reach my figs. I want those scaffolds somewhere down in here and then coming out from there. So here we go. I'm going to start this air layer. I am going to have to remove some leaves and some figs. Not real happy about that, but it is what it is. I need to get this air layer up on the top of this tree. All right, first things first, we're going to fill our little Ziploc bag with our pre-moistened Pro Mix. I've seen different people do different things on this. Some of them like to fill it super, super full. Some of them like to just get it flat. Now, the important thing is that we have good contact with our tree, with our air layer. And so we want to make sure that we have plenty of soil in it. However, we don't want it to be so fat that we can't bend this around. Get the air out of that. We want to have, we're going to bend this around the tree. We want to make sure that we have enough space in there that we can actually do that. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I don't know if y'all can see exactly how much soil I've got in there, but I'm liking that. Y'all, the ants, I don't know. We got a little bit of rain Thursday, I guess, and ants are going crazy in my yard. But so this is what I'm going to do with my Ziploc, my sandwich bag. Next thing, so I think I got that the way I want it. And then we're going to cut a slit in the bag so that we can bend it around the tree. Obviously, you want to be careful not to cut all the way through. We're just cutting that top layer so that we can open the bag up, and then we'll fit our treetop into this bag so that we can wrap it around the air layer. Now I'm gonna see where exactly I want this air layer to be up at the top. By the way, I did go get my pruners. I have been using these on other figs, so I sanitize them with some peroxide, so I don't want to spread any fig mosaic virus or any other diseases. So those are sanitized. Now I'll kind of look. Notice I'm having to get on a stool, but here's my first scaffold. Gosh, there are 2 figs coming out of that node. Man, I think I'm gonna go, let's go right here. I've got plenty of room. Tell you what, I'm gonna go right here. This looks like good lignified wood. If I go here and here, I'm only gonna lose 1 fig. So let's do that. I'm gonna go right here. So I'm gonna take this fig, this leaf, and this leaf off, and I'm gonna wrap my bag around these 2 nodes, and I'll nick both of these nodes. Let's hope that's going to work. All right, so I'm gonna test to make sure that my bag is going to fit. So chose right here. I think that's going to work perfect. So let's get rid of this leaf. We'll get rid of this leaf and this fig. Ouch. I hate cutting figs, but it's just necessary. All right, so I may have to zoom in. I'll kind of get this out of the way. I may have to zoom in, but what the fig father did was right at that node. Ooh, that sap almost dripped right on me. He's cutting right at the line, right at the nodes. He is cutting just a nick on 2 sides of the tree and then putting on some Clonex. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully y'all can see that with this leaf in the way. Got no good way to avoid that. Let me reposition the camera. I want to make sure that you guys can see this and I can get zoomed in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. All right, I repositioned the camera there. Y'all, I'm having to be really careful on this stool as I'm on the side of a hill. But again, what I'm going to do, I've got 2 nodes here. I'm going to notch, just put a small little notch. I'm going to do it right next to where this leaf came out of. I'm going to actually do it on both sides. The first one, hopefully you can see very closely, and I will zoom in. All I'm going to do is make a little notch here. There we go. So hopefully y'all can see that sap coming out right there. It's right on that line, right on the node. and then I will do the same over here. Now, the point of this is that what Fig Father said is that if for some reason this air layer doesn't take, then this will heal right over and you won't even be able to tell. I'm going to do the same notches right up here on this node above. I got sap on me, and I know for a fact that I'm going to react to that. So that's one thing. Be careful doing this. I should have had gloves on. I got some of this sap on me last week when I was doing topping that tree, and I definitely reacted to it. Y'all, I'm not allergic to anything. And fig sap, something I'm passionate about figs, and it got me. So, all right. So now make my last notch here. Oops, almost. Oh, come off there. There we go. All right. So now I have notches, 2 notches per node, 1 on each side of the tree. And we'll go ahead and put our Ziploc bag on. Let's get some Clonex on here. I try not to contaminate my bottle. So when I shake it up, I get a little bit obviously on the lid. And then this is me, I just use what's on the lid. So I'm just gonna get that on my little paintbrush and paint it on all of these cuts that I made. I'm just gonna go ahead and get the whole node all the way around. Of course, my cut on the other side. All along this node is where you're going to get your roots coming out of. So I want to get that covered in Clonex. Y'all, I'm not even sure this time of year that Clonex is needed, but why take a chance? So I have it. Why not use it? I think I may try to do one air layer with nothing, just no nicks, no girdling, no scraping, no Clonex, no nothing, and see if that will work as well. Y'all, I'm trying to learn everything I can about this air layering business, and the only way to do that is to keep trying different ways. I want to find what works best with me. Basement Figs even said this method he had never seen before that the Fig Father did with just the nick on the node. So why not go ahead and give something different a try and see what works best for me? I'm looking at timing of roots. How long does it take for the roots to come out? I'm looking for how well the root balls form. How easy is it to get the whether it be a bag, one of the soil pods, how easy is it to get that off as well? So all of these things come into play for me, and the only way I'm going to learn which works best for me is by trying different things. So this one, I'm going to nick it. I'm going to use Clonex. I'm going to use the Ziploc bag. We're going to see how this plays out. All right, so this is going to be interesting how I'm going to do this with one hand, put a zip tie on this baggie without help, but I got to figure out how to do it. So here we go. So again, I've got my pre-moistened HP Pro Mix in my sandwich bag. I've got the slit cut in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, missed a little piece of bag. There we go. Now we're talking. So I'm going to try to open it up, make sure I'm getting my cuts all in that soil. I got it wrapped on there, and I want to make sure that it is good and tight. Take my zip tie, and if I can get one on here, then I should be able to get the rest pretty easy. So, all right. And I'm going to make that tight. So here we go with the, oh, I got more sap on me. Ooh, I'm going to have to get this off quick. Again, making sure that we're as tight as we can get it. We want to make sure we have really good soil contact. this middle one, well, they're all going to be tight. I'm going to get them as tight as I can get them. We don't want it moving either, so I don't think this is going to move. All right, so I've got that zipped on there very, very tight. We should be getting good contact with our air layer, our little nicks that we put in the nodes with this soil, and hopefully within the next 2-3 weeks. I happen to know I'm 2 weeks in on my other air layers, and I'm starting to see rooting now on all 3 of those. I'll update y'all on that one later. But now that we've got this done, I forgot the aluminum foil. Imagine that. I did that last time too. But I'm going to go wash the sap off my hands before I touch anything else on me. Hopefully my hands don't react to it as much as my wrist did. Don't know if y'all can see that, but all of this is fig sap that got on me last weekend. So let me go get that aluminum foil. Let me wash my hands, and we'll wrap this up, and we'll wrap up the video as well. All right, so I've got my aluminum foil now. So the aluminum foil serves a couple purposes. One, it's going to block out any light. We don't want light hitting our roots. Roots aren't a real fond of that. But we also want to prevent dehydration. We don't want our soil drying out. So let me clip these tag ends off of my zip ties so I can get the foil on it. So I'm just going to wrap the foil around, make this a little bit longer. There we go. Now it should cover the whole thing. I'm sorry, that foil is probably super loud in y'all's ear. And then I'm going to get him completely encased in the foil, and hopefully that will prevent some moisture loss. I think the Ziploc bags are supposed to be, or take a little bit longer to dry out. Those soil pods I've been having to add water to every few days. They're just drying out super quick in this East Texas heat. Hopefully this one will work. He looks kind of funny, but I'm going to keep an eye on him, and I'll keep checking in with y'all. By the way, I did go wash all of that fig sap off of my hands. Didn't want to touch my face or my arms or my legs or anything else with that sap on me. Some people I don't think react to it. I didn't think I would. I'm not allergic to anything, but again, if you can see that on my wrist, all of that is fig sap from last weekend topping that tree. So obviously I'm one of the lucky ones, I guess, that reacts to fig sap. But this is my air layer for my Italian 258. Going to try to save the top of this tree. Hopefully we'll force some scaffolding down on the lower portions of the tree so that things will be more in reach. That is my latest air layer on my Italian 258, my I-258. My hope is that I get just another tree right off the top of this one, but yet we force the scaffolding at the lower branches so that later I'll be able to actually reach my figs. But taking a page out of Figgy Ed and trying the air layer at the very tip top, but also from Basement Figs and the Fig Father, just using the little nick method. I did use the Ziploc bag method. I think everybody knows about that, but it's my first time to try that. So I will let y'all know how this goes. The sun's getting up. I'm really wishing I had my sunglasses on right now, but I'll keep y'all updated on how the I-258 air layer goes. Y'all, fig addiction is real. Join the Figolution. Thanks for watching. Man, I hope this works. I do not want to lose all of those figs.